Hello everyone, my name is Gerson Aguilar, and today I will be talking about the concept of epistasis. And so, you may be wondering a little bit about what is epistasis. Well, epistasis is when one gene modifies, masks, or suppresses the expression of another gene at a different locus. And a real-world example of epistasis is with the fur coat colors of mice, being that epistasis is responsible for black mice, brown mice, and white mice. And the way that epistasis makes these different fur coat colors is by utilizing two different genes. These genes being locus C, the albino gene, and locus A, the agouti gene. Locus C controls the production of pigment, while locus A controls the distribution of pigment on the hair shafts. And a quick analogy of these two different genes is that locus C is kind of like a paint factory, and locus A is kind of like the paint distributioner. And so the interaction of these two different genes is important when it comes to influencing the fur coat color of mice. So when locus C is homozygous recessive, we see no production of pigment at all, resulting in white mice. And locus A does not matter much here due to the fact that there's no pigment at all. However, when we have a functional locus C gene, then locus A becomes much more influential in influencing the fur coat color of mice. Being that when locus C is functional but locus A is homozygous recessive, we get a black mice, showing proper production of pigment but improper distribution of pigment. However, when we have a functional locus C gene and at least one dominant A allele for the locus A gene, then we get a brown mice, showing proper production of pigment and proper distribution of pigment. Now, when we do F1 cross of a locus C mutated mice with a locus A mutated mice, we see how we get 100% brown mice in the offsprings, and how all of these offsprings are 100% heterozygous for both genes. Now, taking the offsprings from the F1 cross and putting them in an F2 cross, we get a 9:3:4 ratio, where the color of the fur coat colors could be seen in these circles right next to their corresponding genotype. And so you can see how we get 9 brown mice, 3 black mice, and 4 white mice. And this 9:3:4 ratio is very representative of a epistasis recessive ratio. And so just a quick recap of what I talked about today. Epistasis is when one gene modifies, masks, or suppresses the expression of another gene at a different locus. Two different genes are important when it comes to the fur coat color of mice, being locus C that produces the pigment and locus A that distributes the pigment across the hair follicles. And the ratio that we find when doing an F1 and F2 cross is a 9:3:4 ratio, being a ratio that represents a epistasis recessive mutation. And so you may be wondering now about why does this all matter? Well, epistasis is very important because understanding epistasis helps us better understand how genes influence traits and just how multiple genes